Hey, everybody. It is June 2nd, 2021, and we are continuing our way through this amazing book called the Bible in the year 2021. I am Bria Doan. This is Fitshore Ministries, and we are parked in the book of Proverbs that reading what King Solomon wrote to us. So we will be reading chapters 20, 21, and 22 today. And we're going to be reading some more, basically they're just couplet kind of Proverbs, 2-line Proverbs put together. And then tomorrow starts some larger quantities of lines. But I did tell you yesterday that we would be talking about something called synonymous parallelism. And synonymous parallelism is when two ideas are brought together and they're saying the same thing but using different words. So the second line kind of will sometimes repeat the first line in a slightly altered form to really bring maximum clarity to the lesson that the proverb is teaching. So we see an example of this in Proverbs 20, verse 1, right there, the very first one that we're going to read. It says, "Wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise." So the idea of synonymous, they're using wine and beer synonymously, that and giving them almost human qualities. There's some personification here. Wine is a mocker, beer is a brawler. Either way, those two drinks are going to create just discontent in one's life if we're not careful. So let's go ahead and begin reading chapters 20 through 22 and see what else we can find. We're going to be stopping at verse 16 in chapter 22 today. "Wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. A king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him forfeit their lives. It is to one's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look, but find nothing. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person, who can find? The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he winnows out all evil with his eyes. Who can say, 'I have kept my heart pure, I am clean and without sin'? Different weights and different measures, the Lord detests both. Even small children are known by their actions. So is their conduct really pure and upright? Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. It's no good, says the buyer, then goes off and boasts about the purchase. Gold there is and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. Hold it in pledge if it is done for an outsider. Food gained by fraud tastes sweet, but one ends up with a mouth full of gravel. Plans are established by seeking advice, so if you wage war, obtain guidance. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. If someone curses their father or mother, their lamp will be snuffed out in pitch darkness. An inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Do not say, "I'll pay you back for this wrong." Wait for the Lord. He will avenge you. The Lord detests differing weights, and dishonest scales do not please him. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How can anyone understand their own ways? It is a trap to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider one's vows. A wise king winnows out the wicked. He drives the threshing wheel over them. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that sheds light on one's inmost being. Love and faithfulness keep a king safe. Through love, his throne is made secure. The glory of young men is their strength, gray hair the splendor of the old. Blows and wounds scrub away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. In the Lord's hand, the king's heart is a stream of water that he channels towards all who please him. A person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do what is right and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the unplowed field of the wicked produce sins. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. A fortune made by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. The violence of the wicked will drag them away, for they refuse to do what is right. The way of the guilty is devious, but the conduct of the innocent is upright. Better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. The wicked crave evil. Their neighbors get no mercy from them. When a mocker is punished, the simple gain wisdom. By paying attention to the wise, they get knowledge. The righteous one takes note of the house of the wicked and brings the wicked to ruin. Whoever shuts their ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. A gift given in secret soothes anger, and a bribe concealed in the cloak pacifies great wrath. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to evildoers. Whoever strays from the path of prudence comes to rest in the company of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and olive oil will never be rich. The wicked become a ransom for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. One who is wise can go up against a city of the mighty and pull down the stronghold in which they trust. Those who guard their mouths and tongues keep themselves from calamity. The proud and arrogant person, mocker is his name, behaves with insolent fury. The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. All day he craves for more, but the righteous give without sparing. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable, how much more so when brought with evil intent. A false witness will perish, but a careful listener will testify successfully. The wicked put up a bold front, but the upright give thought to their ways. There is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Rich and poor have this in common: the Lord is the maker of them all. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life. In the paths of the wicked are snares and pitfalls, but those who would preserve their life stay far from them. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Whoever sows injustice reaps calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor. Drive out the mocker, and out goes strife. Quarrels and insults are ended. One who loves a pure heart and who speaks with grace will have the king for a friend. The eyes of the Lord keep watch over the knowledge, but he frustrates the words of the unfaithful. The sluggard says, "There's a lion outside. I'll be killed in the public square." The mouth of an adulterous woman is a deep pit. A man who is under the Lord's wrath falls into it. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. One who oppresses the poor to increase his wealth, and one who gives gifts to the rich, both come to poverty. All right, so I am going to go back to yesterday's reading, and that is chapter 19, verse 18. It says, "Discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death." In today's reading, we saw it written in chapter 22, verse 6. "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." Now, I'm sure that you and I both can come up with children who have gone astray and who have been raised in Christian households and reading the Bible and praying and those kinds of things. And so we do know some exceptions to verse 6, but more often than not, if we discipline our children as God would discipline us, right? There's hope in that, because when we start our children off the right way, when we start our children off by teaching them the proper way to live, we're giving them a gift that lasts a lifetime. Now, I'm not saying that they'll have a perfect life, but when trials and tribulations come, they'll have tools with them that they can use. Now, remember that, like Job, if you remember back, there are times that our enemy will come after us and will test us and will draw us away from God and from his ways. And this is when it is very important to be careful about who we surround ourselves with, to continue to grow in our relationship with God, in our faith, and just to be prayerful for all of those people in our lives, and to not give up on them, and to just let it be in God's possession. Like, give our children to God, to say, "I know that you are going to protect them. I know that you have them in your hand, and whatever it is your will of their lives." In the beginning of what we read today, chapter 20, verse 22, "Do not say, 'I'll pay you back for this wrong.' Wait for the Lord, and he will avenge you." We hear this so often in the Bible, and so often we choose to take it into our own hands and to seek revenge. And here it is, in plain as day. Do not say, "I'm going to get you. I'll pay you back for that." And that's God's job. That's God's job. You just go about living your upright, righteous life, loving people, and He will avenge you in his time, right? So you have to wait and just continue to love people, love your enemies. That's the biggest call God has on our lives. It's easy to love those that are easy to love. It's harder to love those that are prickly and coarse around the edges, but God calls us to love all people. The last thing I want to pull out today is, I just wanted to say that chapter 20, verse 18, plans are established by seeking advice. This is kind of what we talked about yesterday, seeking the advice of God, but also seeking the advice of godly people will help us to establish plans that are according to God's will. But verse 19, a gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. And I love that the Bible talks about gossip because it runs so rampant in our world, in our lives today, and it causes so much separation, so much division in our world. And if we would choose not to partake in gossip, to not be a part of it, that when somebody starts talking about somebody else, that we would either excuse ourselves from the conversation, attempt to redirect the conversation, or just stand up for that person even in their absence. So one thing that I heard recently, and I was like, oh, that's such a good reminder, is if you are in a group that is participating in gossip about somebody who is not there, I want you to know that when you're not there, I'm just saying a gossip is a gossip. So, if you're going to participate in that, then just know that they will probably be gossiping about you when you are not present. So just don't be a party to that. Don't succumb to, but if I say something, then they're going to think. Let them think less of you, because God will think more of you. And which one's more important? What God thinks or what the world thinks? And if we can kind of look through our lives with that lens on, what would God think of this? What does God say about this? Then I think a lot of our own heartache would be lessened, I think. Not go away completely, but be lessened. So Father, give us strength. Give us strength in this day, in this world, to go against the norms of society. Because we know that the norms of society do not follow your word. And when we get drawn up into that, sin is right around the corner, just waiting to bait us, to take us off the path that you have created for us. So God, we need you. We need you to just be around us, surround us with your truth and your love so that we can go out and share that with the people around us. Help us to be people, like we talked about yesterday, that just lift people up, that don't gossip about people. Help us to guide your beautiful children that you created and put on this earth, whether we are the parent or the aunt or the uncle or the camp counselor, whatever capacity we find ourselves in, that we are able to mentor to children. God, that we may show them who you are, and we may tell them about the wonderful gift of your amazing Son that you gave each and every one of us, and how to live an upright life. God, you have challenged every single one of us on this planet to guide your children. We do not have to be parents to guide the children we come in contact with. So help us to guide their parents when that is necessary. give us the words, the courage, the encouragement to be a light in their lives and shine and reflect your love, God. God, we love you and we thank you for this opportunity. Give us the patience to allow you to go before us and to right wrongs that have been done against us, that we wouldn't take those into our own hands and speak death and destruction to the people around us, God. God, that even when we are hurting, even when we have been wronged, that we would be a light, that we would share your Son with those people. Remind us that hurt people. And the only way out of hurt is through your love. So allow us to be that light of your love when we find a hurt person coming against us, God, that we may just choose to envelop them with love. Like, give us that vision of loving them and what that looks like, and just pour extra dose of love into our heart, that we may be able to pour it out of ourselves into them, God. God, help us not to take up those offenses that come down the road every day, all day. That when we live in offense, we go out and hurt people, that we may just say, that's not of God. I will not take that. I will not assume that. Help us to discern those moments when we are being offended, and we remind us to turn to you, that you can cover that offense with your love and grace. We love you. We thank you. We worship you, God. In your name we pray. Amen. Friends, I wish you a beautiful, wonderful, and blessed day. Just go out there and have a gorgeous June 2nd. It's a brand new month, guys. Let the old stuff, let it go. Let May go. Let January through May go. This is June. For many of our kids, it's the beginning of summer. And just breathe and bask in the glory of God today. My name is Bria Doan. This has been Fit Your Ministries, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.